Hey everybody, great to see you here. I am very excited about today. Hey Deb, you can catch the replays. We're going to leave them up, I think, through tomorrow. So you definitely will be able to catch the replays. Where's everybody coming in from? Put in the chat. Put in the chat. Just like yesterday, the most engaged members are on today's training. Are going to win an Amazon. The two most engaged members in the chat are going to win a $25 Amazon gift card. All right, so let's jump right in. Okay, I don't want to waste any time. I know you're busy. Hello, Atlanta. Hello, two people from Canada, Vancouver, and British Columbia, and New Jersey, and San Diego. Hey, Sandy. Great to see you guys. And okay, I'll do the housekeeping notes right now. So if you are just joining us, hello, I'm Jen Lehner. I am the host of this live 3-day workshop, and today is day 2. And real quick housekeeping stuff. If you have a question, make sure and type #question in the chat so we don't miss it. Where you're watching, you may only see a few people, but like engaged in the chat, but actually we're broadcasting everywhere. And so we've got lots of chats happening. So we need to see the #question in front of your question so we don't miss you. Okay. Also, I'm seeing like a lot of people commenting like Milwaukee and Ontario. But it just says Facebook user that I can't see who you are. So StreamYard, the platform that I'm using right now, requires you to click the permissions that are right above this video. You might have to click the 3 dots and then click more or something like that, and set those permissions. Oh, Copenhagen, Denmark. Hello. And the Netherlands. Hey, Helen. Good to see you again. I'm glad to see a lot of people coming back from yesterday. That's awesome. A lot of Canadians here today. Awesome. In St. Paul, Minnesota. All right. So like I said yesterday, just like yesterday, we are giving away 2 Amazon gift cards for our most engaged viewers in the chat. But you have to be here for the whole training, and we'll be giving them away at the end. All right. So as you know, in this 3-day workshop, I'm sharing with you the 3 secrets of scaling your business and building your dream team. Yesterday was really awesome. You guys asked some great questions. We talked about some really important foundational systems, not the business systems just yet. That's coming, but the first foundational system. So secret number 1 is you must have systems to scale. It is so important to lay a foundation that leverages your time and productivity, that allows you to focus each and every day on your highest value tasks. And in order to do that, we talked about taking inventory, and we did a 2-part exercise. The first part was just doing a brain dump of all the things that you're doing in your business on a daily basis, or weekly, or, quarterly or annually, but all the things you do in your business. Because if you don't get clear on this stuff, it's just not going to work for you. And I appreciate everybody who's done their homework. It's not too late to do your homework. Just go and find that meme in the group. It's pinned up to the top, and post your homework down below. It really is so important. And even though we're giving prizes for this, the real prize is that this is just going to help you so much. By the time we get to the end of tomorrow and you start hiring and going down that road, you're going to be so happy you did this homework. Trust me, because it's the kind of thing you would never do unless someone told you to do it. Okay. I know that's true for me too. So the second part of that exercise is we broke the inventory down into categories. We broke all your tasks into categories using the Eisenhower matrix. And again, if you haven't done this yet, or if you're just coming in today, don't worry about it. I'm making yesterday's training available until tomorrow, so you could go back and do the exercises today when we're finished here. Okay. But for right now, stay with me, because we are going to build on that with an exercise that literally blew my mind when I did it the first time several years ago. This exercise is all about understanding the value of our task. So listen really carefully, because I don't want you to overthink it when we get to the exercise. It's all about understanding the value of each of our tasks. And when I say value, what I mean is the value in terms of revenue generated, and the value in terms of opportunity costs. Because Starting each day knowing the value of each task allows you to prioritize and increase your revenue exponentially. Okay. Um, okay, hold on. So I'm sorry that you got spammed, Facebook user. I can't see your name. And then someone in LinkedIn said that Facebook isn't letting them join the group. So Nika, if you can make sure that they're able to get in. And there's no video on LinkedIn, which is so weird. All right, we have some technical glitches. We're just going to keep rolling with it. If you can't see us on LinkedIn, you could see us on YouTube. Just search for Jen Lehner. Nika will put a link to YouTube down below. And then on Facebook, it's at the Jen Lehner. You can find us there if you can't get in the group. Okay. And yes, Stephen, I can see your name now. Yes. All right. So let's look at this. Let's look at this exercise now. Okay. I'm going to share my screen. Report card. Okay. All right. This is on page 18 of your workbook. If you don't have the workbook, we'll throw that link up on the screen and we'll put it in the chat for you. It looks a little bit different than this. Let me make this much bigger. All right. Yeah, that should be everything. Okay. Looks a little bit different than this in your workbook. Again, everybody who's just joining us now, if you don't have your workbook yet, we're going to put a link in the chat. But, and up on the screen, page 18, it looks a little bit different. But at the last minute, we were like, you know what? Let's make this be like more of a calculator. And also, if you would like this version of the report card, we'll put that in the chat as well. But make sure you make a copy of it. Or it won't work for you. So you're just going to click File and then scroll down right there where it says Make Copy. If you look in the upper left-hand corner of the screen there. Okay. All righty. So here's the deal. Here's what we're going to do first. Down at the very bottom, you see where it says Daily Target. Here's how we got to this daily target. This is sort of, again, we're not overthinking this. We're looking at the value of tasks. And so the first thing that we want to decide is like, we want to set a daily target for ourselves of how much we want to earn. Okay. And the way that we come up with this number is we look at all the days on the calendar. We cross off all the days that we don't want to work this year. So like we know we don't want to work, let's say, on Fridays and Mondays, or we just don't work Fridays. And we know that we're going to take 2 months of vacation. You're going to figure that out. And again, you don't have to do this right now. You can do it afterwards. Just stay with me as we walk through it. Then what you're going to do is you're going to pick your annual revenue goal and divide that by the number of days that you are going to work. And you could just look at the remainder of the year if you want. Okay. That's going to give you your daily target. And it's okay to just have a loose number here. Okay. So that's our daily target. So for demonstration purposes, we're just trying to work with like some nice even numbers here. So I've got $2,000 as a daily target. And then what you're going to see is that we've got these columns that are valued at $5, $25. Actually, that should be $10. That should be $10 an hour. Nika, can you adjust that in the form? That's supposed to be a $10 column, not $5. Because I want to make sure the math adds up correctly. All right. So while I'm doing that, I'll wait for Nika to there. Magic. Do you see what just happened? This is the beauty of having a team, you guys. Like I did not lose my mind or freak out because I have someone who has my back on this. All right. So our first column is $10 an hour. Second, $25, the third, $100, and then the fourth, $1,000. So these are basically tasks where you feasibly could find someone to do these tasks for this amount of money. Okay. And And it's, again, these are just loose guidelines. Yes, I know copywriters can be $10,000 an hour, but you could find a copywriter for $100 an hour. Okay. And then over on the $1,000 an hour column, this is where kind of where I want you to be. This is where your activities are. And I get a lot of people who are like, well, that's ridiculous. I can never imagine, like, that's a crazy number. Like, I'm not going to charge $1,000 an hour. And what you're going to see is that I could easily make that number $10,000 an hour and it would be accurate. Okay. So let's start over here on these activities. So let's say you're currently spending 2 hours a day on Canva and 2 hours a day on your email and maybe an hour a day on invoicing and 2 hours a day on social media. And I know that this is an accurate picture of how a lot of us are spending our time, because this is exactly what my days look like before I had a virtual assistant. And it was worse than this, quite frankly. Okay. It would have been like more like a 10 hours spent on admin tasks and setting up Webinar Jam and lead pages and all of that stuff. Okay. So now we see that 5 hours were work, the value of those activities, $50. Okay. So now let's just jump over here to the $100 an hour task and for copywriting. So let's say you spend an hour copywriting. Okay. So that's $100 value down there at the bottom. All right. And then let's say over here in your revenue producing zone where you're supposed to be, you spend an hour writing that online course that you've been meaning to launch, and you spend an hour planning new revenue streams. All right. Not terrible, but this is a value of $2,000. Now let's look at where we are on our daily target and our actual. So our target was $2,000. Our actual is $2,170 on our actual, okay, our actual value of activities. Now, watch what happens if we take the social media off of here and we delegate that to someone. But we're not going to go crazy. We're just going to delegate 2 hours. And we're going to delegate 1 hour of that invoicing. Okay. So now we're going to take those 3 hours and we're going to make good use of those 3 hours. So we're going to come over here in the $1,000 column and we're going to now make 2 hours worth of sales calls, discovery calls. If you're a coach, whatever, you're going to do some sort of selling kind of a thing. And then you're going to write a webinar. And the webinar, this is the webinar that is your sales webinar that is going to introduce your new online course to the world. Okay. And it's a very important, and you're the person who has to sort of come up with the content for that, right? So you're going to spend an hour on that. So now look what's happened. We have now increased our daily activities in that zone, the value of our activities to $5,000, and our actual value of that day's work is $5,140. But here's what I want to tell you is that I know for a fact, because I am proof of this, that, and this is where I was getting at with like saying this could be $10,000 an hour, because first of all, let's talk about the sales calls. Let's say you do four discovery calls in 2 hours, which is totally reasonable. Then you could, it wouldn't be ridiculous to think that you could sell one coaching package on those 4 calls, right? What you sell one call, you have 4 calls, you close one of those people. So what is the package? The package could be $5,000. It could be $20,000. Like, I don't know what your packages are, but like, that's reasonable. So that's where it's like, yeah, that really could be more of a $10,000 an hour task once all the dust settles and you factor everything in. Same thing goes for that webinar. When I do a webinar to tell people about my programs, and this is true for a lot of people, when you finally nail the webinar and you really get your messaging right and you make the training really good, there's no reason why that one webinar does not sell $100,000 for the launch of that program. Now, is it 10,000? You see what I mean? I'm just trying to get you to wrap your head around this, around the math of this. Okay. So let's see, we're going to I've got something else. Okay, so I want to show you one more way of looking at this. Okay, it is really important to have an understanding of how much your time is actually worth. And you may not charge by the hour. I don't either, but we all need to understand how much our time is worth. Okay, and you can do this with this calculator. Nika's going to show you this cool calculator that she just whipped up for us, and I just love it. And let me stop my screen share and share again. Here we go. Okay. So very important. This calculator is not going to work for you if you do not make a copy of it first. So again, you're going to go up to File. Let me see if I can zoom in too. I can't really zoom in, but go to File up on the top left-hand corner and then go to Make a Copy. Okay, that's how this is going to work for you. And it's very, very simple. What's your income goal for the next 12 months? And of course, I'm trying to use round numbers. So we put in $100,000 as the example. Okay. Then we plugged in how many weeks do you intend on working this year? And so you're going to, much like the other exercise, you're going to subtract, the number of weeks you want to work from 52 weeks. Okay. So here we have 40 weeks. I want to work 40 weeks. And then how many hours do you intend on working each week? And you want to be realistic. Actually, that's supposed to be each day, not each week. Nika, can you update that to just say each day? I hope I got that right. Anyway, all right, if I got that wrong, I'll let you know. But your hourly rate comes to $71.43. Okay, this is how, make sure somebody test that out and make sure that works. I think it's supposed to be per day. And I wrote the formula down, so hold on a minute. It's income divided by weeks divided by hours. I just wrote hours. It should be the hours per day. But oh no, that's a week. Oh my God. Of course you're not going to work 30 hours a day. I just spaced out. So here's the thing. I want you to be realistic about the number of hours that you're going to work every week, because if you're currently working 60 hours a week and your dream is to work, 10 hours a week, like, come on, like you're not going to get there. You're not going to get there so fast. So just be realistic, because we want to come up with a truly reasonable, as accurate as can be number. Okay. I cannot believe I spaced like that. Okay. So we came up with this hourly rate of $71.43. And so now what we're going to do is, let me stop my screen again. I want to really walk through this with you. Share screen. Okay, this graphic. Okay, hold on. Let me move this over here. Okay. Everybody should be seeing the whole thing. All right, great. Whoops. Okay. All right, here we go. So, let's say the task is updating your CRM, your customer resource management tool. It doesn't matter what it is. We're looking for a very simple task. So whatever that is for you. And the time that it takes to complete this task is 6 minutes a day. That's it, just 6 minutes. And at 5 days per week, that's 30 minutes a week. Okay. We're going to say, I know we did our hourly rate is 71 something, but we're just going to round up to $75. So our hourly rate is $75, meaning your hourly rate is $75. If you do this task every week, then that's $37.50 a week. No big deal, right? But over the course of a year, that's almost $2,000. Okay. $1,950. If your VA does this task for you at $10 an hour, that's $5 a week. And If they, over the course of a year, that's $260 a year. So the difference you can see very clear here is a $1,600 and a $1,690 net gain. Okay. That's like not too shabby. And we haven't even mentioned the opportunity cost of all this, meaning the money that you've left on the table because you're spending time on things that aren't driving revenue. And we're not going to go deep into that because that's real math and you can sort of see how great I am with math. But trust me when I say that the opportunity cost is easily 2 to 10 times that amount. You've left money on the table because you are spending time doing things that don't create revenue, things you shouldn't be doing. So this is where secret 2 comes into play. Let me stop the share here. Hello, I'm back. Okay, so this is where secret 2 comes into play. It's not really a secret anymore, is it? If foundational systems to scale is secret number 1, then yep, you guessed it. Secret number 2 is support to scale. Why? Because you need both systems and support. One doesn't work without the other. And when I hired my first virtual assistant, Nika, like I mentioned yesterday, that she's been with me for almost 7 years, this is what transformed my business from that feast or famine track of being a solopreneur to being a true CEO business. With the definition of business, does anybody remember that from yesterday? Like, I love this definition of business. It's so simple. Being a business is being a profitable enterprise that can operate without you. So here's a couple of cold, hard facts for you. Fact number 1, adding a virtual assistant to your business can free up 30 to 50% or more, really, of your time so you can focus on growing and scaling instead of just flailing. Fact number 2, with the addition of a virtual assistant, your business can 2 to 3x revenue more rapidly than any other single investment that you can make, period. Fact number 3, time and money are equally crucial and necessary investments to make. And then fact number 4, as we saw today, there is just as much cost associated with not having enough time as there is with not having enough money. So when you're able to invest more time in your business, especially by focusing on your highest revenue generating tasks every day consistently, that's what's important. Like not just once a week, but every day consistently, it will yield more money. Okay, so I just want to leave today with a quick recap. There are 3 secrets to scaling your business and building your dream team. Leveraging your time and productivity to focus every day on your highest revenue generating tasks. And we did that with the Eisenhower matrix and the report card and the hourly rate calculator. And the second secret that we talked about is leveraging a dream team of others to support you in your business. Okay, so I know that I have been like really hammering this point, and you might be thinking, okay, Jen, I get it. It sounds great. I'm sold on the idea. You've convinced me, but how do I do it? And that is exactly what I'm going to talk about tomorrow. I'm actually going to share with you the exact framework for doing this in your business, from where to find the VA to how to find the VA and even onboarding. And I'm going to walk you through the exact process because, like I said earlier, it's not just about making a mental shift. I mean, that is a huge part of it. And that's why I have talked about it kind of ad nauseum because it is so important. But what I'm going to share with you tomorrow is super tactical. These are tools to walk you through the process that gets you results. Okay. Oops, sorry. I didn't mean to hit my microphone. It's not just fluff and ideas. It is concrete steps that will work. And when you streamline this part of your business, it's like igniting the engine of a machine that can run on autopilot. So you do not want to miss it. Be here tomorrow. And if you missed a day or if you came in late today, make sure to go back and watch the replay and go through those exercises. It really won't take you a long time because tomorrow we're going to keep that momentum going and we're going to build onto the actual framework that's going to change your business. So, homework. Your homework is to pay really close attention to what you could do it a couple of ways. Pay attention to what you're working on today, what you worked on already so far before this live stream, and then what you work on the rest of the day, and then fill out that report card. Take a picture and post it under the meme in the group. You don't have to do the hourly rate thing, just the scorecard, the report card, and post it under this meme. I think Nika's going to post an image of the meme up on the screen. Look for that and post your homework. And by the way, I want to ask you, especially everybody who did the exercise yesterday with the entrepreneur, the Eisenhower Matrix. Your training today, the time. So when you go to account for your time today, the time that you've spent with me today, which is what, like 30 minutes. For these 30 minutes, or we're going to go into Q&A after this, but the learning part, 30 minutes. Where would you put that on the matrix? I'm going to look at the chat because I'm really curious as to what you're going to say. The $100 column, says Amy. Actually, no. So I don't think so. And so you're thinking in terms of the report card. Yesterday we did the Eisenhower Matrix, but sort of the same thing. Yes, Helen, it is a CEO task. And the reason is we talked about procrastinating. Procrastinating is something that we need to delete altogether. So when we talked about what we keep and delete and all of that, procrastinating is when we go and we take all the courses and we watch YouTube videos and we don't really act on them and we're really just wasting time. But this is different because what you're learning today, you can't outsource this learning to someone else. This is learning you need to understand. This is actually you being very strategic to make those very next most important moves in your business. So this is, you are sharpening the saw. This is very important skill building for you. This absolutely goes into the CEO zone. So you can put this in the $1,000 an hour task on your report card when you go to account for this time. Okay. And if you haven't been getting email or text reminders, or if you haven't gotten your workbook yet, make sure to go to ceosecretstraining.com. That'll give us your email address and your phone number if you want to get text message reminders. And if you are not watching this live stream inside of our discussion group, make sure to join us over here. Nika's going to put a link to that. And you'll also get a link, like when you register for the workshop, it gives you a link into the discussion group. Oh, and I almost forgot. You definitely want to make sure that you are getting our emails because tomorrow morning, something really great is going to hit your inbox with something very cool, actually, or hot. That's a little hint for you. A little gift from us that you are definitely going to want to see this before you get to the training. All right. And before we do Q&A, I want to, we'll go ahead and choose our prize winner of the 2 most engaged people in our chat today. My team has been keeping score and they see you. And so they have been working behind the scenes to come up with our 2 winners who are going to win, each win a $25 gift card. And that is Amy and Helen. Congratulations, Amy and Helen. So very important, email support@jenlehner.com to claim your gift certificate. And we'll get that to you in just a couple of hours. So thanks so much for making this more fun. It's more fun when we talk to each other. It just is. Okay. So let's go. I'm going to go back in through some of these questions. Nika, if there's some questions that you need, that you've seen, you could pop up on the screen that I maybe have missed. And as for spending our time, are you doing a process management exercise or just estimating, or both? I don't understand, Stephen. As for spending our time, are you doing a process management exercise or just estimating or both? I don't understand. What are you coming up with your target? Where are you coming up with? Okay, so that one I can answer. So the target is your daily target is just coming up with, look at the number of days, how much you want to earn, the number of days you're going to work, and basically divide it up. And that's going to give you how much you need to earn, you want to earn each day. And it's crazy how accurate, how it really does line up. And you'll see when you start measuring, right? You can't, I don't even know what the quote is, but like you can't fix something that you don't measure. It was an earlier question when you were figuring your hours for each task. Okay, well, did that answer it? Do we put our ideal income or base or what we're making now? For the, you're putting your, I mean, you don't want to do a pie in the sky, unrealistic. I want to make $1 million next year. I mean, unless $1 million is literally, you're literally on track to do that. And if you have help, if you're at 500,000 now, I mean, you could double your income next year if you brought on a team. That's absolutely feasible. But you just want it to be a realistic number that feels real to you, so that this actually can be applicable to you in your life, basically. And great to see you now. Let's see here. Any other questions? I feel like there's a lot, but I'm having to scroll through, so bear with me. I'd love to hear if you have any, if you've had any, if you've, plugged anything in already as we were doing this, and if you had any insights, or yesterday when you were doing the Eisenhower matrix exercise, did you have any insights? And oh, here we go. Yeah, I missed that one earlier, Nikki. Sorry, I know you asked that earlier, and then I skipped it. Is preparing quotes a CEO task? Initially, and here's why, is because preparing quotes, for a lot of businesses is very different for every client on the surface. But the truth is, if we really look at the way we're doing quotes, like even you could be I was just talking about this with, I've been working with a designer and a contractor. It's like a design build situation for my own home. And I was talking about this with the designer, and because there was an interior designer who was asking me a very similar question online, not in my local town, but online. And so I was chatting with my designer and saying, like, walking through the steps that she takes to do a proposal. And I remember the proposal that she did for me. And although it was like a lot of like line item stuff, the truth is, I said to her, isn't it true that you kind of do sort of the same thing with each client, even if their houses are very different? The categories, and subcategories tend to be the same. The amounts tend to be the same. And she said, yes. And the more we talked about it, it's very easy to turn your quotes and your proposals into a more or less kind of cookie cutter system. You can systemize it to some degree. The CEO part of that is for you to map it out kind of the first time, and really the first several times, and really make it as much of a template as you can, and then not do that so much anymore. And then, it might be that you will always have to review it afterwards, but a lot of that you can hand over. As much of that as you can hand over, the better. It can be process driven, is what I'm trying to say. I spend a lot of time sending invoices and making payments to my freelancers. Do you recommend I keep doing that, or I outsource it? And if so, who would do that? Okay, so absolutely, your VA can do that. So if you hire a VA and then you have a bunch of freelancers, so you've got somebody doing, coding, and someone else doing some website stuff. Well, that's coding. Somebody else doing graphics or podcast editing or that sort of thing. I absolutely would outsource that to a VA, 100%. And there's some cool automations that you can build into that as well. I plugged in my goal and I actually am on target for my hourly rate. Kim, awesome. Way to go. But what this says is that I could actually up my goal with a VA. Bingo. That's it. I mean, even when we ran through the first example, we exceeded our target, right? When I did the first round, because I was being very generous to say that I actually spent 3 hours doing those things in the $1,000 task column. The truth is, though, back in the day, there would have been 30 minutes, 1 hour in that column, and there would have been 10 hours in the other, you know? So 100%, you are exactly right on target. It is, that's what I want people, that's the light bulb that I want to go off. Yes, a social media manager is, you can absolutely, let me say this, you can absolutely, it's probably the most, it is probably the most desired skill that our CEOs are looking for, is someone to handle their social media, right? We're also with social media, you know, and it just keeps ramping up, do the reels, do short form video, you know, all the things that we add, the alt text, like there's always more and more and more that we have to do with social media. So 100%, you can absolutely have someone to do social media. And that typically tends to be one of the very first things that our CEOs in our program do, hand off. Actually, not true. Not true. That it's hard to find a good one. It's hard to find a good person. It's hard to find a skilled person, a qualified person without a good vetting system. And we're going to talk about that tomorrow, but we build in all sorts of, I don't want to say hurdles, tests. There's tests and there's all sorts of sort of self-eliminating things that really screen people out, so that by the time you get to the interview portion of our process, you really have very qualified people. What tips do you have for businesses who don't have any income or a budget for a VA, even though they could do with one? Okay. So here's the thing. If you don't have any income, you aren't a business yet, right? So once you are a business, then it is, you know, I think as soon as you're a business and you have a service that is selling, a product that is selling, that there is always room for help, even at the, you know, few hours a week. Because from the very beginning, I mean, if you think about it, from the very beginning, there are all those tasks that are going to present themselves to you that you either aren't good at. You're going to have to go and research. You're going to have to spend a ton of time on it. You're going to have to, and unfortunately, a lot of times what happens is we invest all this time researching and trying to duct tape everything together, only to go out and hire someone to do it, like a quick fix with a contractor to fix it for us, you know, and it's kind of maddening. So it feels counterintuitive, but I really do think that in the beginning, even if you only can outsource a little bit of time, it's still going to give you the space to do more of the stuff that is going to generate revenue. But obviously, if you're not really in business, if you aren't a business yet, you have zero revenue and no promise that you can count on X amount of dollars coming in, then it's probably, you know, just good to be aware of everything that I'm telling you today, file it away and come back to it when you're cranking. And by cranking, I mean just when you get going. Good for you, Kim. Well, you're ahead of the game. You've created all the content for the year. Getting, you know, that's wonderful. So once you get your VA, you're going to be cooking. Does the VA help in building your followings? Well, yes, in so many ways, because if you are creating, I mean, in so many ways, directly and indirectly, but I would just say indirectly. I mean, obviously, if they're doing your social media, if you do a piece of content that is really stellar, you go into a training on YouTube or on LinkedIn or whatever, and then your VA takes that and turns it into a blog post and an ebook and a checklist and a PDF, and then you email it to your audience so that they can see it, and you just get it in front of more eyeballs. Then of course more people are going to be like, hey, she's really sharp. She's really helped me today. I would like to see more of what she does. And hey, I'm going to share this with a friend. Patty, thank you very much. I appreciate that. I used a lot of your techniques to hire my VA, and I think I hit the jackpot. I'm so excited. Keep me posted on that. And Facebook user, I don't know who you are, but I'm excited for you. And surely they are a business making a loss rather than not a business at all. But I mean, I guess what I'm saying is you can't be a business making a loss based on our definition, right? At least not for long. I mean, eventually you were just, how can you stay a business if our definition is you are a profitable enterprise that continues to be profitable, whether you are there or not? How often do you connect with your VA and set work goals? Love this question. Several, and I teach all of this like very specifically, and like what we discuss, how we go through our meetings, and the timeline and all of that. But every day, our VAs fill out a form that says, "What did you work on today? Do you need help with anything? And do you have any suggestions? Do you have any suggestions for me?" Super simple. It's a spreadsheet. They just type it in, and it's not about me policing them. It's really more about just understanding, like, and having an oversight of what is happening in my business, and also love getting their feedback and suggestions. It has, helped our business so much. I can't even count how many great ideas that we've incorporated into our programs because of my brilliant team. And then the other thing is we have a mandatory Tuesday meeting. It used to be on Mondays. That doesn't work for me because, if you travel a lot on the weekends, you know how it is, and you miss your flight or it gets canceled or delayed. Mondays are bad for us. So Tuesday, 9:30, we meet, and sometimes those meetings are, 30 minutes long. Or sometimes it will turn into a full-blown workshop if need be. Like we really need to, we're starting a new project and we need to really set all the goals and all of that and the expectations and everything. And that could be a couple of hours. And then we have an annual planning meeting that we all really just love. And then we always have a debrief after every big launch. And we have a series of questions that we analyze what happened, what was good, what was bad, and then we have our idea dump of everything that we're going to do the next time that we launch. I have one client who I work for, but she can only pay me on an ad hoc basis, but it's because of her that I'm trying to set my business as a VA. Awesome. I'm guessing the first step is to really document your systems before hiring a VA. Amy, yes, we're going to talk about that more. I mean, ideally, if you spend the time to sit down and document an entire, make a system from a process, then that is ideal. So ideal. The problem is, and what holds a lot of people back from hiring is because people feel like, oh my gosh, how can I stop? Because let me explain, right? How you create a social media post, for example, I'm just going to pick something really simple, or how you set up your invoicing might take you 5 minutes to send the invoice or 10 minutes to send the invoice. Okay. But for you to stop and write out every single step of the process so that nothing gets messed up, all the way from this is where you'll find it in the Google Drive. This is how you need to save it. This is the way you need to give it an invoice number, like all those little things that only take you 5 minutes to stop and make a system out of that is going to might take you an hour, right? And so that is why people are like, ugh. Now I think that is, and I know that is the most ideal, right? Because you know exactly how you want it, you're already doing it, and you're ready to hand it off to someone else. Perfect. Okay. However, one of the unique things about my program, which you guys are going to hear about tomorrow, Front Row CEO, is that I teach a system that allows you to hand the process over to your virtual assistant, and they actually create the system. And PS, a system is really just a checklist. It doesn't have to have all sorts of automations and bells and whistles and tags and pop-ups, and it's just a checklist, right? And I show you how we do that, and it's pretty cool. And let's see here. Any other questions? Wait, did I miss something from Robin Miles? I see someone said, yeah, Robin Miles, but I don't see where Robin went, if I missed that. Okay, so I want you guys to do your homework. I want you to do your homework yesterday and today. This is, I know everybody's busy. That is kind of the whole point of all of this, right? You're all so busy that you need help. But I'm telling you, this is one of those things that you're going to be really happy you did when you go to hire. All right. Marie says, since I am starting a new business, I need to figure out basics, what services and clients to be served. But once that is figured out, you can get the VA to help with the setup. What services and clients need to be served. But once that is figured out, you can get a VA to help with the setup. I mean, absolutely. I've got someone right now who just finished the Front Row CEO program. She went from the very beginning to actually onboarding her VA in, I think, about 2 weeks. And she is transitioning from being a lawyer to a new business of being a mindset coach, right? Like huge leap. And she just knew right from the beginning that she just didn't want to be, dealing with the web page and all of the things, and creating her lead magnet and her opt-ins and her connecting her email service provider to the lead magnet so that the people get a nurture sequence of emails, and doing all the social media like she knew right from the beginning. So you're exactly right. Once you know what you're going to offer and you get all of that in place, and very important to know where you're going so you can set expectations. And I've got a podcast about this, and you guys, I have a ton of free resources at is it jensprograms.com, Nika, or Jen Lane? I think it's jensprograms.com/VA resources. And that'll sort of shortcut you to all of the podcast episodes and all of the blog posts and all of that. And I've got a bunch of guides and everything. But yeah, so you'll be able to see. I totally lost my train of thought. Expectations. So I just recently did a podcast about how to set expectations with your team, how to make sure they're realistic, and how it's just really important to show what success looks like, and also what failure looks like, whether that's on a project or whether that is just working with you as a whole. Also, this is a wonderful time because ideally you'll have like a welcome video for your new VA, because my system is very automated. So once they're hired, they're directed to an onboarding like dashboard, right? The first thing they see is a welcome video. And in that welcome video, it's so great to not only give them a tour of your company. And if that happens to be like you have a brick and mortar, you can use your iPhone. But if you're on a desktop and it's all virtual, you go and show, this is our Facebook group. This is my Facebook page. But also, this is what I'm trying to do in the world. This is what is important to me. This is why we are in business. This is what success looks like for us. This is what we believe in around here. And you get to, I guess what I'm saying is, even if you've never like written a motto because it's just you in your business, how awesome is it? Now you get to create, now's the time. Like, you're going to put pen on paper and make it be the beginning of the culture you want to create, because you're saying it out loud and you're sharing that vision with another person. Now together you get to go for it. You know what I mean? The same thing goes for like a branding guide. Wonderful if when you're onboarding someone to be like, this is what our brand looks like. These are our colors. This is our logo. You know, this is our font. This is how we use this stuff, and you talk about that, but maybe you actually don't even have a brand guide yet. So this is a wonderful opportunity to just sort of get that stuff together. But also, if you can have a VA create your brand for you as well, or hire someone, a contractor, to do that. Do you have a Q&A for people who have hired new VAs? Right, this is what we're doing right now. You're welcome to ask. You're welcome to ask me anything that you want. What is better? What is better, paying weekly rate or hourly rate for a VA, and what is the current rate? Okay, we're actually going to talk more about this tomorrow. I'll touch on this today. So first of all, the rates are going to vary all across the world and based upon specialty. Okay. So in the States, you could pay anywhere from 25 to, I would say, about $150 an hour for a virtual assistant. And and overseas, it could be India or South America or the Philippines, a lot less than that, where people will go to those countries so that they can leverage exchange rates. Okay. So I talk a lot about hiring from the Philippines, and we'll talk more about that tomorrow and beyond. There's a lot of reasons that we do that, but a lot of reasons why I recommend hiring from the Philippines, aside from just how affordable it can be. But here's the thing, and I want everyone to hear this, because this is not about going and finding the cheapest labor that you can find. That is not the culture that I am trying to build. I am on a mission, actually, to get the message out about how spectacular the scenario is for both people. Okay, both people, the CEO and the virtual assistant, if you do it the CEO way, the front row CEO way, the right way. What is the right way? Well, the thing is, if you're a lone ranger in your business and you are doing the feast or famine thing like I was, then there are months when you just don't have cash flow coming in, right? Like you're like going like this. And so you can bring someone on for 40 hours a week if you hire from the Philippines, whereas anywhere else in the world, like in the US, Canada, UK, whatever, you could never afford 40 hours a week. It really, really, really would be cost prohibitive, because it would exceed what you're making, right? Like it would be more than what you're even bringing in. And so you can start at a low rate. Okay. The VAs in the Philippines will ask for as little as like $4 an hour. We do not recommend paying that little, right? But let's say you started at $5 an hour. You don't stay at $5 an hour. Okay. Again, this is not about, you don't want to exploit people, right? But what happens is, first of all, the dollar does go a lot farther there, right? And that's the whole reason why this works. But the trajectory is this, right? Like if I was drawing a graph, it would be like this. And wait, this one, this is you, okay? And you hire that VA, and all of a sudden, you are out of the gate. You are starting to make money. You're like, whoa, this is great. Finally, consistent revenue. Immediately, what we teach you how to do is to start bumping up your VA's pay as you go. Okay. So it's gradual. So they start making more, you're making more, they're making more. And because what this is all about, you guys, is finding a virtual assistant who is going to be with you for years, not weeks or months. I don't want that. You don't want that, because you're going to start from scratch again. I mean, if you want a contractor, you just go over to Upwork or Fiverr. That's not what we want. Like, that's not going to help you build your business. You want more of a partner who has ownership in your company, who cares about it almost as much as you do. And how do we get them there? Well, the fastest way is to, number one, start to give increases as soon as you start to grow. Number two, giving bonuses. And you could do this based on like project performance. So like it could be project based bonuses. Like, you launch your new course and, you've got a stretch goal. And so it's like, if you reach this goal, they get this bonus, this goal, they get this bonus. If you reach your stretch goal, it's like Christmas for everybody, right? Like, woohoo. And, this is going to really give your team a true sense of ownership, because they literally kind of own part of it, because they're benefiting from your growth, from the growth of the company. So on your question as to salary, as to hourly or weekly, I think that was a question, hourly or weekly. What I teach is a salary model, and this is not something that happens like right away. But what I say is, first of all, remember our vetting system, and the way we have this templated is that by the time they get through all these tasks and tests, and then we screen and we interview, and then we put them in a trial week. Like, after all of that, you're going to find your perfect match virtual assistant. And so you're pretty sure you've got somebody really great. But as soon as you guys have built enough trust with each other, and you're certain, okay, I want to keep this person for the long haul, then I encourage people to start thinking about the salary model, because nothing really builds trust and security like that both ways. Because hear me out. So it frees you up from having to like micromanage. Did they really work 30 hours? Or did they work 20? Or let me look at the timesheet and all of that. I don't have time to mess with that. That is to me, and it's frustrating. Okay. But if you say to someone, I am going to promise you 20 hours a week, you're going to get paid 20 hours a week if they're part-time, 20 hours a week, whether you work 15 hours a week or 22 hours a week, you're going to get 20 hours a week. And you can count on that, because, virtual assistants are freelancers, and they got to make money too. So if 1 week you just don't have enough work for them or whatever, they got to go looking for somebody else. They have to keep their revenue consistent too. So this really is such a wonderful bonus for them to be able to count on that. The sooner you get to 40 hours a week and you do the same thing, you're going to get paid 40 hours, whether you take vacation. And I have a whole way of calculating like how many vacation days to how many sick days and all of that. Oh boy, that is when the magic really starts to happen, because now they're with you. They are with you. They don't have to take any other clients. They can focus completely on your business. You don't have to pull your hair out wondering if it took 20 hours or 25 hours, whatever. It is magical. But that might take you a year to get to that place. But I want you to be thinking about that way, because it really just makes good sense. Okay. That was a really long-winded question to your answer. You only need 5 to 10 hours a week at first. That's fine. We have people that are doing that. We also have people in our community who go through the program who end up just sharing, like they share a VA. So if somebody wants 20 hours, somebody else wants 10 hours, and they'll end up sharing a VA, because you can find a lot of other fellow CEOs in the program who need the same skill set that you do as well. And they can go for quite a long time. And then maybe you go from 10 hours to 20. And now it's just two CEOs sharing one VA for 20 hours a week. A concern for me is that my VA has to understand and be compliant with HIPAA. So HIPAA rules there are things that your VA can do outside of HIPAA. We have doctors, we have psychiatrists who have gone through the program, and they can't help with all the things that like somebody can help with maybe inside your office. Because I know, like, in terms of data being stored on the cloud and all of that stuff, it's like really sticky issues. But there's a lot of work outside of the HIPAA work that a VA can still help you with. I love my new VA. I think she's amazing and has a ton of potential. Everything is going very well, and I have really taken to heart everything I learned about how to communicate with the Philippine culture. Lately, however, I feel like she is doubting herself more, and even though I've encouraged her to keep thinking for herself when she doesn't know what I would say. She almost always chooses as I would, but the more I encourage her, the less proactive she seems. That's confusing to me. I don't, because I don't, I don't have any concrete examples. I've really taken her to heart everything I learned about how to communicate with the culture. Lately, however, I feel like she's doubting herself, even though I've encouraged her to keep thinking. Like, what does doubting herself look like? She almost always chooses as I would. Less proactive that she seems. I don't know. You know what I mean? I feel like this is all, I need some concrete examples. Like, what do you mean less proactive? And what do you mean she doubts herself? So give me some examples and I would love to try and help you. How do you handle tax? Oh, I thought it said Texas. How do you handle taxes with VAs from out of the country? Great question. You don't have to worry about taxes at all. This is not an employee. This is, it's not an employee. So even though like I kind of push you all the way up to the edge, like in all ways, this feels like an employer-employee relationship because we want to structure things that way. Like in terms of, having the meetings, and I've talked about sick days and all of that, but that's just your creation. Because in the end, these are contractors. And inside our program, we have there's a form called like if you're in the UK, it's the W8 Ben 8, something like that. And then we've got another form for US citizens that is just something to keep on hand, but it's not like anything you ever have to, it's just like if you were ever asked, you have this form to say like, these people work outside the country and there is no obligation to pay any taxes or anything like that. I asked my VA what she wanted for a bonus, and she wanted a new blender. I love that. And we talk about that too, like surprising and delighting your virtual assistants. There's all sorts of places in the Philippines where you can, you can't really send from Amazon, but like you're sending gifts like that, because a lot of VAs in the Philippines live with their extended families, like mom and dad and grandma and, sisters and brothers. And so a gift like a blender, I mean, that's, it means it goes a long way, and it's very appreciated. And I think that's great that you asked and you're sending her a blender. Yeah, as Akanksha says, it feels amazing to be able to help your VAs too and make a difference in their lives. Okay. Make sure I'm not missing anything. But touching on what Michelle said, I love that she says that she's really taken to heart about, the best way to communicate and, being in tune with the culture and that sort of thing. When we are like explaining how to do things, especially like when we record these Loom videos and we're showing somebody how to do a process, something very important is to always talk about why you're doing something, right? Because as soon as possible, we want the people who are helping us to start to think the way I do, right? To start to make decisions based on the way we would make decisions based on our thinking. And so, of course, they can't read our minds. We can't read each other's minds. And so when you're doing this, you would say like, this is how we do this. And the reason we do this is because we do it this way because Facebook, if you do it the other way, oh, I got it. Here's a good example. We don't use bit.ly links. We don't use shortened links on our Facebook posts because Facebook doesn't like that. Facebook doesn't like us to use these kind of links. So we use the actual link. You're just saying why. It's just like the littlest thing, but you're going to say why. Or you could say, when you're showing how to do something, show what the wrong way looks like as well. Because if there's an easy way to mess it up, address that as well. Like, this is how we do it. You might accidentally do it like this, but that way is wrong. This is the way we like it because blah, blah, blah. Okay. And we're going to need to wrap it up soon because y'all need to go get busy doing some more CEO tasks and we're over the hour. But here's Michelle gave us follow up. One thing she does for me is created ads from current promotions every day. In the beginning, I taught her how she could grab them from my promotions in my email and do them. She is great at that and I trust her. But she lately is hesitating until I confirm rather than going with it. I mean, I think what might make her feel better and what might work for you as well is that to put in a Trello board or whatever project management tool you use is to do this instead of each day. Do it, have her grab all that stuff a week at a time and lay it out for you. And so when you go on your weekly meeting, you can quickly just peruse it all and be like, good job. Yes, you nailed it. Great. This one, not so much. I think I would do this or that. She's needing some feedback, it sounds like to me. So, because she doesn't want to mess up and, that's understandable. Even if, you've really been supporting her and encouraging her, I bet that would really be helpful to both of you. And I think it would just be more efficient too. Oh, I'm glad that you like my microphone. I always hear other people's microphones and think that theirs sounds so much better than mine does. But it is an Audio Technica AT 2005 USB. Audio Technica AT 2005 USB. Okay. All right. I hope you found value today in what we talked about. I really do commend you in taking this big leap or even just thinking about it. It's super scary. It really is. But you can do it. And if you don't do it now, it's all right. Like you've started on the path. You're opening up your mind to looking ahead and thinking how you might scale your business, taking this very huge step. It's huge. But also that hugeness, the largeness of it all is also what is going to be, what is so fun about it is because it really is going to crank things up for you in a very major way. So thank you so much. Please do your homework. Congrats to our Amazon gift card winners. Check your email in the morning because, like I said, you want to do it early. It's going to hit your inbox early. It's a total gift. There's no catch. But if you miss it, you're not going to be able to redeem it. Is all I'm going to say about that. Okay, thank you so much. Have a great rest of your day, and I'll see you tomorrow, same place, same time. Bye.